Alright, so this is an exclusive for my Discord members. So let's start with Sonny Lindström, his analysis and where he thinks Malmo will eventually be when we summarize the season. Um, um, he goes on to say that most people thought that Malmo would be last last year, and there are many who do the same this year. And one of the reasons are that they've had to cut in the budget for the salary. Um, I don't really see that as a like last year we didn't have the cheapest roster, and we're were the it doesn't usually like the more money you spend doesn't necessarily match performance. So, but sure, we have less money to go around this year. Fine, but I don't think that's a pure reason to put us in 14th place. Um, um, and he goes on to say also that even though he thinks that Momo will be on a qualification place, that there is bigger potential in this year's roster than last year. It's a team that is built to play a quicker hockey, um, and at the same time, there's been a renovation in the structure and hierarchy. Um, uh, so he goes on to say about that this year Björn Liljander will be able to put his spin on this roster and do the necessary changes, and that he has done those changes, but with a smaller wallet, as was previously mentioned. He goes on to say that Malmo here and now is not a club that is attractive for um, for the better players. I think that is subjective, but okay. Yep. I mean, he's never hidden that he doesn't like Malmo, so it doesn't really surprise me. Um, he goes on to say that Liliando has had to recruit players that are untested in SHL, but has good potential and age to develop. Um, Untested in the SHL, sure, but every single player that he's recruited are equally good or better than the players that they replace, and they're younger. Basically, on in every single case, they're younger as well. Like even Alan Quine, who's 30 years old, he's still younger than Carl Soderberg, for instance, right? Or whoever you would see as the the guy he replaces. So, eh, but yeah, I'm a little bit restrained in my analysis and standing step since Malmo has a very thin squad. 7 defensemen, 8 with the junior Dominic Badinka, and 13 forwards is a few players too little because it's more rule than exception to be missing 2 or 3 players every game to uh, I don't know why, but my headset shut off. Okay, let's keep going. I don't want to redo this, so let's keep going. Um, 7 defensemen, 8 with junior, but Dominic Padinka, and 13 forwards. He goes on to say that it's more rule than exception that there's 2 or 3 players missing every game to injuries and sickness. I don't agree with this. 2 or 3 players each game missing. Eh, 1 or 2, not very rarely 3. I don't no, I don't really agree with this too much. 8 defensemen and 13, well, 18 defensemen and 14 forwards, more than enough, I would say. You need 2 extra forwards, and you need 2 extra defensemen probably, um, for competition purposes and for covering sickness and suspensions and whatnot. We do have. He forgets to mention we do have New Orleans, so that's 9 defensemen. We do have the junior player Philippe Sitar. He has been announced by the official channels to be a player that they will be bringing into the men's team. So that is the 14th forward. So again, he's wrong. But anyway, it just shows that he doesn't like Momo. He angles it to what he likes, which is his right. It's his page. Whatever he wants to do, he can do. But it's just you need to see what is missing. Okay, so he doesn't mention New Orleans. He doesn't mention Philippe Sitar. He mentions Dominique Badinka, sure, but Dominique Badinka has proven to be so good that he can easily be playing on 6 defensemen already this season, and he's 17 years old. Okay, so yeah, just putting that out there. It remains to be seen how costly it will be, and if Malmo, with its weak economy or weak financial situation, can have the opportunity to strengthen during the season. I don't really see the need to strengthen during the season unless we get a long-term injury like we had with for example, Malmö Lind last season. Um, at the same time, the roster building in itself is more interesting and exciting than in several years. The average age has been lowered by almost 2 years from last year, which is necessary. Looking at the last few seasons results, the biggest change is on on the defenseman side, which will be a lot more agile, um, which will make them move quicker from your D zone to and get a more, a better play out of the zone and into the offensive zone, which we've seen. We've seen tendencies of that for the three first uh, practice games. That's for sure. Um, Malmo will be struggling at the bottom of the table also this season. I'm not so convinced that as last year that it will be. So he's saying that. So he puts us 14th or 13th, but he also says that he's not convinced that we will be qualifying when the spring comes. So basically, he can't make up his mind. It's a bit back and forth, but okay. This squad has potential to develop and actually be able to avoid the 2 last spots in the standings. So the goalies, Donny Mamelin and Adam Werner, identical pairing from last year. Mamelin was the given choice during the first part of the season until an injury put a halt to it, and then Adam Werner got the chance after more or less been nailed to the bench, and even supposedly he's even been out on the market um, amongst the the second tier league teams. Well, I mean, Werner, when he got the chance, he didn't take it. He was absolutely awful, so that's why he was nailed to the bench. Marmelind was the better of the 2 options. He was just as bad, but he was the better of the 2 until he got injured. In which case, we didn't have a choice. We had to play Werner. And then he goes on to say that Werner, after the fact, was the league's 3rd best goalie. when he got the chance to actually get regular games one after another when Malmlin got injured at the end of December. Only Emil Lamy in Växjö and Oskarshamns breakthrough man Tim Juhl had better save percentage than Adam Werner's 92.11% during that period. And then you should have in mind that Werner, until Malmlin was injured, had a straight up weak save percentage at 86.49%. Um, only only Veini Vevelainen and Tommi Kauhunen was worse. Right. So Adam Werner had a bounce back second half of the season, which is good. Which creates a healthy and good competition where Don Mamlin during his last 2 years in the club has been solid and reliable. Well, I don't know about reliable, but Donny Mamelind, I want to point something out. Donny Mamelind has extreme highs, okay? He can have absolutely insane games, and then he has the most stupid decision making sometimes. And his rebound control seemingly is zero at times as well, which gives the opposition basically free goals, which is so frustrating to see because we know how good Malmolind can be. He's just not that all the time. His average is way lower than it should be. His lowest point is way lower than it should be. His highs are great. His highs are when he's the best he can be, he's amongst the top goals in the league. When he's not that, he's amongst the worst in the league. Odombano came back um, from North America, hadn't played much. We knew the club has said that they knew that it was going to be that there were going to be a transition period. He still wasn't good, and they were working hard with him, and eventually we got the Odombano that we thought we would get from the start of the season, which is so far in the 2 games that Adam Werner has played, we've seen a way more solid Adam Werner, and we've seen a little bit of shaky Mamelin, but with a caveat that it was the first game in 8 months, so I will cut him some slack. I will cut him some slack. Okay. Defenseman. It's clear that Björn Lilander wanted more agility on his defensive side. When you look at what they've recruited, to the amount, there's 3 new defensemen in the forms of Teemu Kivihalme, Jakob Galvas, and Johan Ivarsson, who, alongside Adam Olas Mattsson, Joachim Ryan, and Marcus Lauritsen, are a good top 6, where team loyal Matthias Lassen is the 7th defenseman, which is a straight up upgrade versus the last few seasons. The Czech junior Dominik Badinka has gotten the chance during the preseason and got a lot of praise. I do see it as a bit far away before he can come in and be good in the SHL. Even if, of course, he can be participating to watch and learn and relieve when there's injuries. I don't like based on what Kollar have said, based on what Lahtinen has no, not Lahtinen, the assistant coach that coaches the defenseman, based on what those two have said, based on what Liliando have said, based on what we've seen, Badinka can play on 6 defensemen right now. So I'm very excited for him, and I think that they're selling him a bit short with this, but we'll see. Time will tell. Johan Ivarsson is a player that I've been that he's been praising since he saw him in the SHL with Malmo for the first time in 2015. Ivarsson is good on his skates. He's big, strong, and with a good physical presence. he's he's a little bit unpolished and naive in his game at times, but the potential has always been there. Iverson had a great debut season in the SHL in the 15-16 season, um, but had a rough time to take the step in Malmo and went to Färjestad through Panton in Hockeyallsvenskan before he moved to TPS in the Finnish Liga. In last year, Ivarsson was back in Hockeyallsvenskan and was one of the league's absolutely best defensemen in Södertälje. Um, I'm convinced that Ivarsson has what it takes to be a good defenseman also at this level. Um, uh, this is actually exhausting. It's a big wall of text, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Bear with me here. He should have the confidence um, and there's also clear indications that he will fight for a more for a bigger role in the team. Ivalsson's single biggest challenge is that he needs to be able to take quicker decisions with the puck when the speed in the game goes up. He has still a tendency to keep the puck a half a second too long and can get himself in trouble. Jakub Galvas is a player that I've heard a lot of positive about. The Czech defenseman has played the last 2 seasons in the Chicago Blackhawks organization without being able to stay in the NHL. Galvas is a mobile defenseman who more than he often goes with the attack, but also has his strength in the defensive play. What I like about Galvas is his character and his mindset. Galvas is in Malmo to take the step back to North America and also knows what will be demanded of him. It puts a kravställning. It puts a demand in the everyday, both on himself and which both himself and Malmo can thrive off of. Adam Olas Mattsson was a giant during the qualification game last year and uh, can also take the step and become a top defenseman in the league. In my opinion, he's already a top defenseman in the league. Let's be real. But again, selling our players short. Secretly hating Malmo? I don't know. You tell me. Um, when I last year spoke with a few of the GMs and coaches about Malmo in, in connection with their qualifying playing, they were independent of each other, agreed on that Olas Mattsson was that Malmo player that they would like to recruit if a Malmo went out, got demoted or relegated from the SHL. I still think that there should be a lot more from Olas Mattsson in the offensive game. 16 points during the regular season last year should be at least 25 this year. Joachim Ryan had a brilliant first season in Malmo, but did not be to be recognized last year. Sometimes he was fine, and sometimes he disappeared completely. He went from scoring 9 goals and 31 points to last year only scoring 1 goal and 15 points. Wow, that's half. It's of course way worse and not at all in line with his talent, competence, and his salary. Ryan needs to get back up and play on a higher level. If not, he will, mostly because of the sharper competition, see his role diminish and his ice time go down. Um, Teemu Kivihalme is a skater, is a great skater, which contributes to Malmo's more agile defensive side. Initially, he's thought of as a fifth choice defenseman, which looking how it looked like last year is a big upgrade. The thought is that Marcus Lauritsen will be his defensive partner in a third pairing, which more than ever clears up the competition uh, and that there's more power, there's more competition this year. Uh, of course, Matthias Lassen is also available and will fill the role that is needed, which he regularly always do well. Right, forwards. So the ratings, by the way, I didn't mention the ratings. So they rated our defensemen 3 and goalies 3, which is odd, but okay. Forwards only 2. The Silvergold brothers and the twins, Pontus and Patrik Westholm, has left, and Carl Söderberg has left as well. Apart from Marcus Silvergold, was that players that took a big chunk of Malmo's salary budget. This has opened up for some necessary changes on the forward side, both structurally and getting some more offensive skill in, and most of all the hierarchy. Of the players that has left, probably Marcus Silvergold is the biggest loss, considering the way he finished last season. Fredrik Hendemark is the team captain, the engine, and the one that is pushing the team forward, not necessarily in a producing role, more as a player that sets the tone in the everyday life and always gives everything for the team. The thought of for number one centerman this year will be Janne Kåkanen, which will have his countryman and goal scorer Lauri Pajuniemi on one wing and probably Carl Passon on the other wing. There is the big question. Is this the year when it's going to really break loose for Carl Passon? Passon has potential to score 20 goals. I think most of us can agree on. But his problem has always been his inconsistency. Sometimes he can disappear completely in long periods. Passon scored 13 goals last year, but is in this kind of environment, he should be able to score more than 20 or up to 20. Lauri Pajuniemi is a player that Malmo expects to contribute offensively and be a part of a feared first line. The newly acquired Alan Quine, I've heard a lot of positive about. Quine sees himself as a centerman and has performed in that position in the AHL earlier. Malmo had initially the intention to give Quine an easier journey into the season by playing him as a winger, but relatively instantly he was moved back into his normal position as a centerman, which, let me point this out. When people were saying, "Oh, let's put him on the wing," blah blah, I was like, "No, he wants to play centerman. That's where he's most comfortable. Let's put him as a centerman." And lo and behold, he's a centerman. I was right. I hate to toot my own horn, but goddamn. So just want to point that out. I will point that out once. I won't mention it again. I promise. Um, Quine will be there to contribute offensively, something that he should be able to do, considering how clever he is on the ice and how often he is positionally how right he is positionally on the ice. Lucas Vanblom looks to have a chance in a rather big role. Last year, Vanblom was on his way away from the team after a heavy season that was um, mostly filled with injuries and games on the bench and games out of the team. And then when the qualifying series was summarized versus Brynäs, he had scored 4 goals and some of his best games of the season. The young Anton Wahlberg, born in 2005, is a player that will be exciting to follow this year. But he has the tools and the talent to play as a taken what do you say? That he would play on 12 forwards. Let's put it that way. He showed last at the end of last year. At the same time, there's a bit of a nonchalance side with Valby, which he has shown in the junior teams, possibly because he's always been that dominant, so that he could decide when to be and not have the challenge in the everyday all the time. Now the demands are the classic to come to work every day and put in the work every single day, which will be a transition and a journey that he needs to do. Um, but even then, Valby already now can be a momentum, um, a how do you say, mönsterbrytare. Someone who can break patterns, someone who can do the unexpected, and unlikely. It's unlikely that we've seen a bigger talent in many years. Um, a player that had a rather strange season last year was Kim Rosdahl, who will be filled with revenge this year. To go from Oskarshamn and one of the league's hottest lines to being outside of Rögle's team, to then move home to Malmo within a couple months really cost his confidence. Rosdahl has the size, the physique, and the shot to be productive, even if I don't think that he will ever come close to the 38 points he scored in Oskarshamn a couple seasons ago. Johan Olofsson and Kristoffer Forsberg are two of the most reliable players in the league. You know always what you get game after game. Olofsson has a bigger offensive upside, while Forsberg always does a great job as a fourth centerman. Further down in the team, you also have William von Barnekow, who was in the team already last year and sometimes did pretty well. It's mostly von Barnekow's sacrificing play that make him useful in the fourth line. The newly acquired Norwegian from Stavanger, Thomas Berg Poulsen, and Södertälje, the Södertälje player Albert Sjöberg are in the category of cheap players further down in the team. Berg Poulsen is more of an energy player, a power forward that will be difficult to face, while Sjöberg has a bigger offensive upside and potential. Sjöberg is born in 2003 and is a more of a long-term gamble, and the plan is to get him into the feel of SHL this year and then gradually give him a bigger role. Yeah, I really hope that Sjöberg gets an honest shot, because he already showed that shot top shelf right off the face off in that practice game, absolutely insane. Like we haven't had that kind of sniper. So I really want Sjöberg to become our sniper, our Patrik Karlqvist, our, those sharpshooters that really have that pinpoint accuracy. If he's good enough, then he might not stay in Malmo very long, because he will then move to NHL. But that's the downside of being good. That comes with success. Uh, and the coaches is rated 2 out of 5, I believe it is. Thomas Kollar goes into his third season as a head coach, and by his side also this season is Petri Limatainen and Matthias Tjärnqvist, and also the goalie coach Kristoffer Nilstorp. And even when the winds were blowing hard and Malmo was really, really bad during the season, the club and primarily the GM Björn Liljander stood behind the coaching staff. It showed to be a great decision, considering how well prepared they were when the qualifying versus Brynäs started. Kolla has a good view of leadership and can, despite his lack of routine, be extremely clear versus to his players, regardless of whether it says Söderberg, Ryan, or Hendemark on the back. This has, within the group, given him respect, and at the same time, he's described as being a very good ice coach and active in his coaching on the bench. The star. If Malmo is to avoid qualification and take sight on the what is it? Åttondelsfinal. The play-in. I will call it the play-in because Lauri Pajaniemi or Janne Kokkanen needs to grow forward as two productive star players. Okay, this is grammatically wrong. Lauri Pajaniemi and Janne Kokkanen needs to grow to become two productive star players for us. Uh, the Finnish duo will be playing together, and Kokkanen can become more of a playmaker, while Painiemi will be the sniper. The talent. Anton Wahlberg was drafted this summer, and after that he has signed a contract with Buffalo Sabres. First, he will have to make his way into the Malmo roster, which will give him all the chances in the world to succeed. Wahlberg has a great hockey sense and puck control, and is without a doubt Malmo's biggest talent in many years. Um, Point scorer, Janne Kokkanen, 39 points. Mm, I think he can do better than that, but 39 points, I will take it. Honestly, I will take it. The best new acquisition. Injai Janne Kokkanen. Malmo hopes to have found their first line centerman. Kokkanen is a player that works very hard across the whole ice, even if it is for his potential offensively that he's been acquired from Freiburg in the Swiss league. Kokkanen is in a good age and has big potential to develop and take steps in Malmo. The breakthrough. Scouting reports are all positive. Jakob Galvas has potential to be a really great recruitment for Malmo. Galvas is described as a great skater who's good all over the ice. Galvas is a player that has been handpicked and scouted by Björn Liljander, who has been more than thorough in his work, where he's been forced to see his player budget uh, decrease pretty significantly compared to last year. To proving a point, right? Uh, can call is Carl Passon a player that can score 20 goals this season? That is what Malmo was hoping for when they chose to extend his contract last spring. Um, the hidden one. Kristoffer Forsberg is going into his 9th season in Malmo, and as always, he fills a very important role. Nobody works harder and plays more sacrificing than Forsberg. He knows his role and performs it exemplary every day. Malmo has never lost a game because of a non-functioning fourth line with Forsberg at the center of it. The profile. It feels a little bit strange not to write down Silvergold here, but it's a new time and a new era, and thus time for others to step forward as a profile. Why not the vältaligande och gräslig. Why not the Stockholmer Adam Wallace Mattsson, who might take this step to deliver both on and off the ice? Okay. Most valuable player. Fredrik Henmark has not really been on the same dominant level that he was before he got the chance in the NHL and San Jose Sharks. Henmark is the team's heart and soul, and the one who they build their identity around. In that way, he's a lot more important than just staring blind at goals and assists. The supporter voice, Matthias Olsson. To be quite honest, it's a feeling of last chance for Malmo in the SHL. It needs to turn around this season. New contract without qualification is the most realistic goal, but the problem has been big, even financially. Club, uh, the, but the problem has been so big that the financially we need to reach at least play in. The change in age of the roster is exciting, but Björn Liljander has, of financial reasons, had to bet on several untested cards on the forward side. Kokkanen, Painiemi, and Quine will deliver, but the question is, what you can get out of the rest of the forwards. Otherwise, a lot hangs on the goalie side, and that it works. And there, Adam Werner feels more than ready. Feels more ready now than a year ago. So yeah, so they put us 13th. They put Modo at 14th, Oskarshamn at 9th, and Linköping at 10th. Those are the 4 teams that they've gone through so far. And if we move over to the player for player ratings, that is done by Johan Svensson. Daniel Mamelind, a rating of a 3, has been injured half a year and will not come back. Can have some insane performances, but needs to be more consistent. Adam Werner, 3, had a really nice second half when he got the confidence last season. Big and good goalie that can take more steps. Backa, defenseman. Dominik Badinka, new, is with in capital letters. From Czechia, 1 rating. A talent born in 2005 who has basically taken a roster spot in the men's team. A very good defenseman with the puck, who is the defenseman's only right-handed defenseman. Defensive side's only right-handed defenseman, but he's untested. Right. Jakub Galvas, new, Czechia. He gets a 4-star. Again, same thing. He's good with the puck. He will have a big role in this team and play a lot. Will be used a whole lot in the power play. Johan Iverson, new, 3 rating. Very good skater and one of the best defensemen in Hockeyallsvenskan. Will now come back to Skåne again. Teemu Kivihalme, new. He gets a 3 rating. Great skater who has been hunted before and now they've caught him. A 2-way defenseman who will be mostly used defensively. Matthias Lassen, 3-star. Again, the skridsko stark, skridsko skicklig, it's the same fucking thing. Anyway, they're good on the skates. He's good on the skates. He always comes to work. He can play in pairing with most of them, and he's very useful. He's very versatile, basically, and that is the only reason he's actually 7th defenseman, is because he can fill any role that he can snipe it top shelf. He can also be very solid defensively. So yeah, he's very useful. He's very versatile, and that's why he gets extended, basically. Marcus Lauritsen, 3-star. 3 rating. Spelskicklig, same thing. Good with the puck, has a good shot that is used way too not often enough, I should say. A 2-way player with offensive upside. Odomulas Matson, 4 rating. The team's clearly the best defenseman of the team, can handle all parts of the game, great with the puck, and showed in the qualification game how he can dominate. Joachim Ryan, a 3-star, has a nice movement pattern but has a tendency to be a little bit nonchalant with the puck, has shown before that he can produce. Forwards, Thomas Berg Paulsen, new from Norway, a team player that always works hard, has been he's been moving forward a lot in Stavanger and has been developing rather late, interesting profile. Okay. Christopher Forsberg, 3 rating. He's very fit and one of the core players of the team. Great skater and very good in the penalty kill. Hasn't missed a single SHL game in 8 years. Oh my god, that is absolutely insane, honestly. Absolutely insane. Imagine, never been sick, never been injured for 8 years on a game day. 8 years. Insane. Moving on. Fredrik Hendemark, 4 rating, back as a captain and a real basically that means like uh, he's the big leader on the ice, basically. A great taking face-offs and great at protecting the puck. Can step up points-wise. Janne Kokkanen, new, 4 rating. Needs to be the team's offensive star puck with his puck skills and can do it in speed. Can be used as centerman. That's where he will be. He is the first line centerman. He's not a winger at this level. Johan Olofsson, 3 rating. He's a very speedy little terrier on the ice. Okay. Had he gone a little bit more towards the goal, he could have probably scored more goals. He is hard to stop when he has the puck. Lauri Pajuniemi, new. He is thought of as one of the sharpshooters of the team, has produced a lot of goals in Finland earlier, and is supposed to be the finisher. Carl Passon, 3 rating. A big size player with a good shot, has a lot of capacity in himself, and will now be given a big role. Time for 20 goals. Kim Rosdahl, 3 rating. Had a very messy season behind him. Now comes down with a little bit more. Basically, he will not have a mess. He will have a start. In the, here from the start. He will be here from the start, and he can get into the team and everything. And he will have a big role with his nice shot. Albert Sjöberg, new. He is fast and interesting and a right shot forward. He's waiting a little bit on his breakthrough. He will be starting a little bit further down in the hierarchy in the team, but I will add that I think that he will be moving up. If people are underperforming higher up, he will be moved up. I'm pretty sure. William von Bonnekow, 2-star rating. They also rated Albert Sjöberg 2-star or 2 rating. Hardworking player from the club. He I don't know how to translate this properly, but basically he showed what he can do last season, but he has a tough period of injuries behind him. Anton Wahlberg, 2-star. The club's most exciting talent in several years, skillful and protects the puck in a great way. Here we hope for more. Lucas Vanblom, 2-star. Will be given a bigger role from the start. Had a breakthrough in the qualifying series. Tjurig kvar vad som i skiten. Yeah. Basically, he likes to put his nose in front of goal and he takes the hits, and he gives some hits as well. Alan Quine is new. Skillful forward with the puck, who doesn't again the same thing here. He doesn't hesitate to go into where it hurts. Can be used both as a centerman and as a winger. So there we go. It only took 43 minutes. Goddamn. Right. Well, that is it for this one, guys. And hope you enjoyed, even though it was a lengthy one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again in the next one. And I'll see you on the watch along later today.